What's going on, fellas? This is Mike D, Mr. Double Down on You with Black Fathers Now. And yo, check this out, man. We have a really unique story today because we got my man Donte Palmer, and he's the creator of Squat for Change. The brother's originally from Jacksonville, Florida. Well, he lives in the Jacksonville area. He's married. He's a father of 3 boys. He's a former high school teacher. But I think there's going to be a unique story that you're going to, like to hear about, how he went from being a high school teacher to creating this movement that's shaking up the world called Squat for Change. So fellas in the Black Fathers Now family, let's welcome my man, Donte Palmer. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. I'm just honored to be on this podcast. Like I tell my wife all the time, no podcast is too large, too small for me to hop on. Mm-hmm. So for you to even reach out to me and want to hear my story for your network, that's what matters. I mean, if your podcast have 1 million followers or even 1 follower, that one dad matters. Mm-hmm. And that's what Squad for Change is kind of fighting for, all dads and moms across the globe.
I can dig that. We're really looking forward to getting into that, man. And before we jump into that, you mentioned your wife. On Black Fathers Now, our platform, we're all about the village. Who are we without our village? So before we get started, before we jump into you, why don't you give a shout out to your team, your support system, those that allow you to be Donte Palmer?
Well, most importantly, I mean, I'm a Christian. I'm a God-fearing man, Christian man. So that's my first shout out is my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Without him, I won't be even standing here or breathing.
Absolutely.
Secondly, my wife, my support system, my rock. I'm married for 2 years. Without me being married, having children with my wife, Squad for Change wouldn't exist. It may exist in another capacity in another household, but my wife is the one that really, she leads this whole initiative and charging forward with me. My boys, Isaiah, Lima, Taylor, those are my fighters. Those are my guys. That's my boys. They make me wake up every morning to drive this initiative forward. Dad can't quit in their eyes. That is a superhero to them. So I'll continue to be that superhero and be that man that leads the household. And last, I would like to give a shout out to all my brothers, my Black strong brothers who are fathers, who are passionate, who are engaged with their sons and daughters. Because in the world, they say Black men don't take care of their kids. And it's my job to change that narrative, to show that minority fathers, we exist. We're more than just murderers or drug dealers. We're passionate, caring fathers who care about our kids and will do anything for our children from this point on out in our lives.
Dude, I'm going to tell you, what you said just there really resonated with me so hard. It's like it made I don't have much hair, but made the hair kind of stand up. You know what I'm saying? Because what you mentioned about helping to reshape the narrative, and really a shout out to the brothers that are actually doing it. Right. That honestly was the inspiration behind Black Fathers Now. When I was thinking about creating this and, really speaking to the brothers, a lot of the information out there from a fatherhood perspective, especially if it's targeted towards Black fatherhood, is geared towards lifting up the bottom, meaning it's about absenteeism. It's about that absentee dad, the dad that's not there, and trying to encourage them to get into the lives of their kids. Whereas when I looked around at my contemporaries, the overwhelming majority of my contemporaries were good dads. They were married to the mothers of the kids. They were spending time with their kids. They were doing things. They wanted to go from good to great. You know what I'm saying? And so this whole conversation, or Black Fathers Now, this platform really spawned from really wanting to give that brother who wants to go from good to great, some resources, outlets, but then examples of brothers who are in their own lives, like yourself, going from good to great, showing the possibilities.
Almost definitely. Like you said, we got to change that narrative. I mean, I know a lot of guys. I have a group of 9 friends. We are in a group text together, non-fathers. We're passionate about fatherhood, and we aren't highlighted like we should. So for me to have that platform, I'm going to highlight them all the time. I'll highlight fathers like yourself and fathers around the globe who look just like us, who have children who look just like us, and just continue to push that narrative forward. Because, like I said, we are some of the greatest dads, and we compare to the David Beckhams and these all-time dads that get so much attention, but we're on that playing field with them, man. There's nothing you can take away from us, and we just want to change the narrative again, like I said, and just keep pushing it forward.
Man, this is awesome, man. So fellas, you hear all of this, so you're in for a good discussion by listening to our interview today with brother Donte Palmer. So
yes,
speaking of, Squad for Change is what drew me to you, right? Because that's the platform, that's the thing that you spent your time building. But take us back a little bit, man. I mean, before that, you were a high school teacher, but kind of give us the little origin story here of Donte Palmer, man. Walk us through
Yeah,
your story a little bit.
so I'm Donte Palmer, like you said. I'm 33 years old. My birthday was last week, so I'm growing up in age.
Happy birthday.
I feel it on my knees a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Originally from Philadelphia. I've been in Jacksonville area for about 4 years now, but living in St. Johns County area.
Mm-hmm.
Married for 2 years. I have three sons, a 13-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 2-year-old. And you made me thinking now, how does he have a 13-year-old married at 2 years? We are a blended family, and that's another thing we have to start talking about. We could touch on that a little bit later of what a stepson and a stepdad means in my household, and what a stepmom and a stepdad means in my household. And these are things that we play with all day, and we found a good solution that works for my family. But I'm just that regular teacher, that husband, father, God-fearing man that has landed upon this global media movement, and I'm just so honored to be a part of a global change that really puts the face of fatherhood first. Initially, and I can say on this platform because each platform we have to speak a different way, but
Absolutely.
I'm excited to be a Black man leading a global charge and having that Black man, be the face of it. We see too many movements where the other race, and nothing against other races pushing movements because there are movements that mean something, but you don't see too many movements or too many businesses being owned, global businesses being owned by people who look like us. So for me to have the opportunity to have this platform to show it and do that, I just give all glory to God, and I'm so excited to be breathing another day to continue to push this initiative forward.
Amen. That's a blessing in itself, brother. And what I wanted you all fellas to listen to is he mentioned the whole concept of his intention, right? Like he was inspired, like God inspired him and provided an opportunity for him to go forward and create something. But then he was very intentional about utilizing that to help change the narrative. And I think to that point, we have to be mindful in our own lives. Where do we have something that we've been inspired to do? But then where do we have the opportunity to use that inspiration to be intentional about changing the face of something? Because what you do then inspires somebody else. What Donte is doing is inspiring me. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and hopefully it's inspiring you to go and do something bigger. Don't put limits. Don't put limits on yourself.
Not at all. Not at all. If I thought that I would be a kid from Philadelphia, not having too much, seeing my dad, we speak about my dad dynamics as well, seeing my dad, addicted from drugs from A to Z. They were married for years, got a divorce. I never thought my mom and dad would get a divorce, but through the drugs and alcohol, he was pushed out the home. Just to see me growing up angry and not having a father in my household like I wanted to have a father, missing my graduations, missing my first basketball games, and just struggling to see my mom work 2 or 3 jobs and put food on our tables and not having the best sneakers or the nice clothes, and now playing a part in my mindset of, am I really going to be important when I grow up? And from that environment to be a global figure and have 3 sons who look just like me, to really advocate for them and say, you know what, whatever, regardless of what dad been through, you guys will never see that because mom and dad aren't divorced, and divorce isn't a word in my house. If it is in a house, we shun it in the name of Jesus immediately.
Absolutely.
And we revisit that conversation that our boys would never grow up like we were raised. And I'm just so honored to be a boy from Philadelphia, hard streets of urban city, to a beautiful county, and pushing a global movement to make fathers around the world have resources that they lack.
You said something there that really, I wanted to put a pin in that was extremely important. Am I really going to grow up to be important? Am I going to be important when I grow up? Am I really going to be important when I grow up? I mean, that was one of those things where it sounded like you questioned that, but that was also a seed that was planted in the sense of you asked the question, but at the end of the day, you were kind of answering it internally as well. You didn't know how. You didn't know it was going to come, in the form of squat for change. But at the end of the day, you're answering that question.
Yeah, most definitely. It's just one of those things where I also substitute at times part-time here and there, and just go to our schools and to hear our students not having so much. They don't have any goals. They're like, what am I doing? They just live for the moment. And I was that kid, just lost, just really angry, really upset about life. My dad wasn't around, angry about those things, and it plays in your mind. It plays on your mind heavy. And it wasn't until I turned 32, and when my wife and I got married, and she said, we're married. I love you to death, but you may have to seek counseling. You know what I mean? I never think that they teach our community. Don't go to mental health. Don't get it crazy. You don't go to a shrink. I can say right now on my life, one of the best decisions was when I got my therapist and started talking to her. I'm so alive now. I'm so excited. I'm so passionate about life, my wife, my kids. And it all roots back to my past, my childhood, the things I didn't have. So it plays on me as a grown man. At the age of 32, I found out the root of me being so angry and the reason why I snap out, the reason why I go to bed stressed at nights is because of the root of my dad. So I had to call my dad. My dad and we've been on the same page for about the last 4 or 5 years, but we never had that conversation that I love you, I apologize. And he said a number of times when it had to come from me, I had to say sorry to my dad. And this was my counselor, you have to say sorry to your dad. And my question was, why do I have to say sorry when he left the family? He was on drugs and alcohol. And I had to forgive him for my own sake. And when I did that, that's when my whole life just transitioned over. And now I can be free to now help other dads around who look just like me around the world when it comes to changing tables. And Squad for Change isn't moving about changing tables, but I tell everybody it's deeper than changing tables. It's bringing child back to their father, how to bond with their children. And if you have to take that 30 seconds to change your child's diaper and you're bonding with them in that moment, that's the moment that matters. That's the moment how to look at your dad. I know dad has security. I have security. I have someone who loves me. I have someone who will protect me. And that 30 seconds of changing a diaper. And I think I just need dads to see is that, or men around the world, or organizations or donors, this is more than just a organization pushing changing tables. We are trying to bring back the father to the household. And that's what we're going to do.
Man, dude, I'm going to tell you, there's so much in your story there that, for one, resonates with me personally due to my upbringing. So I grew up in a situation in which, my father struggled with the disease of addiction, which led to a lot of issues. So I understood the whole notion of things, missing this and missing that, but then also wanting that particular thing in your life and not necessarily having that all the time. So I grew up with that, and the whole concept of your healing, I had to go through that process as well. Honestly, one of the reasons why this podcast is called Black Fathers Now was when I had a coaching session with a guy, and we talked about really what was the thing that really resonates with you. And everything came back to the concept of fatherhood. And it came back to the concept of fatherhood based off of my personal experiences growing up, because I had another podcast prior to this one called the Fit Urban Life Show. And it got really generic, but I really needed to find something that really connected with me, that really meant something. And it all came back to fatherhood based off of that experience. And so you mentioned the concept that you also led to in regards to Squad for Change, and how it's funny, this stuff comes full circle, right? You mentioned the concept of spending time with your kid and bonding and all of that, like how that really is kind of the core behind the notion of getting changing tables in, areas for men to have available to them. So talk to us really a little bit more about Squad for Change and some of the initiatives, but then how did it come to fruition? Like, how did this thing come about itself?
Yeah. So it was honestly, how it started was one Saturday morning. We were teaching. I was teaching at the time. My wife she's an executive director of a nonprofit, national nonprofit here in Jacksonville. So the weekends is when educators really relax, kind of debrief their lives, talk, go out with family. And that's what we did. We took the boys, packed them up in a car, and just went out on a day of errands. We spent a whole long day. I think it was in a Sprint store. My son was getting his phone fixed. So we were there for a number of hours. And then after that, it was late. So we went to a restaurant locally to get some dinner. My oldest son, Isaiah, had his phone, taking pictures throughout the whole day. So when we got to the restaurant, my youngest son, Liam, started to cry. And if you're a parent, and that's one of 3 indicators, he's hungry, tired, or got a wet diaper.
That's it.
And we just checked all the boxes. So we took him to the restroom. And this happens way too often. It's a true fact that 9 out of 10 dads have gone into a restroom and experienced the frustration of a lack of changing table, putting their child on a dirty floor or the countertop to change their diaper. So without me even doing that, I pointed to my son Isaiah, picked Liam up, and we just walked to the bathroom together as a unit. As I'm changing them, Isaiah, passing me the diapers, passing me the wipes, not thinking I'm in the squat position, was something I normally do all the time. He just took a picture. So he showed me the picture, and at this moment, I was, whatever, I'm changing your brother. What's the big deal? It didn't resonate with me. We went to the dinner table, he showed my wife. She's like, oh, wow, okay, it's a picture. All right, and that was that night.
Mm-hmm.
About 2 weeks later, I was like, hey, son, send me that picture. I just want to post it on. I was thinking about it. I want to post it on Instagram just to get some reactions out of it. So it's 2 weeks later. I
Okay.
posted on Instagram that day, tagged the Shade Room, and I was like, you know what, this is beyond me. Fathers need changing tables as well. They actually picked it up that night. It was a few comments. I'm not really a Shade Room
Yeah.
follower. People are. But that morning, that's when my wife woke me up and said, you need to check your phone. I guess friends and family was calling her. My phone had like 100 missed calls and family members calling me. By that morning, about 6 in the morning, CNN, Yahoo, ABC, CBS
Wow.
were calling me, Washington Post, the New York Times, BBC World News. Everyone's just calling me, trying to talk to me and trying to find out the story. And at this moment, I still did not know the story. I'm like, okay, I'm changing my son. What's the big deal? You know what I mean? Like, I'm a man changing my diaper. Why are you guys so interested? And I sat back with my wife and I was like, wow, you know, we struck a nerve. And that's when Squad for Change was born. So we are honestly a nonprofit organization here in Jacksonville that really drives initiatives that result in installing appropriate diaper changings in men's restrooms and women's restrooms across the world. Like I said earlier, I think at times we think so small, but I had to start thinking big. Why am I, fighting for restrooms just here in Jacksonville? And I started reaching out to fathers in UK, Cyprus, Germany, Uganda, South Africa, back to the States, Canada, and we just pushing it. So posting pictures, getting fathers to stand behind me with the hashtag Squat for Change. Fathers are taking pictures of them squatting in the restrooms and protests. With all this national attention and this international attention, Pampers reached out and we, developed some paperwork. We got a new partnership. So they have agreed to install 5,000 changing tables in Canada and America over the next 2 years.
Wow.
So, but prior to even that, even now, we have lawmakers reaching out that have proposed bills or have bills that passed. New York has passed a bill putting changing tables in newly renovated restrooms. Howard County, Maryland has passed a law putting changing tables in the restrooms, and also Tampa City, Florida has passed a bill. But we have cities like Jacksonville who's proposed a bill. We're waiting to hear from them. Houston just reached out to me. Not Houston, Alabama just reached out to me trying to propose a bill as well. So we just, just letting God work. I mean, you would think I would be making these phone calls, but people are calling me inspired by what we're doing, and just, laws are changing based on what we're doing, and we're just making it work. And that's what Squad for Change is. And we just were looking forward to, what's next, and continue to, bring those, like I said, bringing fathers back to our household. So that's where it's the most important.
Dude, what fellas, I hope y'all will take a step back. It's that's such a powerful story, and I've referenced this like 1,000 times on the podcast, but one of my favorite books of all times is called The Alchemist. Have you read The Alchemist before?
I have not.
Okay, The Alchemist is an interesting story because it's about the shepherd boy, but the whole premise of The Alchemist is, and he talks about the journey of, as you start pursuing your personal legend, the universe conspires to help you along on your journey. Now, based on my belief structure, it's not the universe, it's the creator of the universe, right? So as you start walking in your purpose in life, God starts to conspire to help you along that journey, but you have to first start taking those steps. And what was interesting for you, because again, going full circle, thinking fatherhood, you talked about the concept of challenges growing up with your father, how the actual spark to all of this was a picture taken by your son.
Right.
Fellas, connect that dots. Again, he's talked about the challenges growing up, the issues with his father, and that led to issues and challenges internally with him. This thing that he's doing now, this mission, this multinational whatever thing that's impacting continents and got celebrity support and all of that stuff and partnerships, this thing was spawned by a picture taken by his son, changing the diaper of his other son.
Right.
Marinate on that.
And the thing is, I tell my sons all the time, I may be the face of it. These media outlets are calling to speak to me, but the movement wouldn't be possible without you guys. And they know it. They know they're the front guys. The picture would not have been relevant if it wasn't shown, if it wasn't for Isaiah, who was also announced in Germany as a world-known photographer. That's your job. for accolade. You take that. Liam, the small baby. We wouldn't be possible if you weren't in that image. And my 8-year-old, sometimes he get left out the story because we got the dad, the son who took it, small baby. But the 8-year-old, I really take him to interviews with me. I tell him he's my young advocate. He wants to be a YouTube blogger. So he's my young YouTube blogger. So he captures all our video for the content. So without you putting the content on our YouTube page, we won't have this. So you are very much important, like all other sons, and we just do it as a unit, and that makes it work. And like you said earlier, make it marinate. The struggles from my father said to me, but it came from my sons to heal me to go and actually forgive my dad.
Oh,
and
my goodness!
It's like God has a funny way of working, and I guess I wasn't listening to God for a long time, saying go forgive my dad. And it wasn't until my son, my 13-year-old, which is my stepson, I can get into that point after I say this, who says, you asked us, and this is one day after, and it kind of took me back. He said, you asked us to respect you and love you, but you don't do the same for your dad. And ooh, man.
Ooh, boy. You talking, man, I'm going to tell you, it's the concept that, kids rarely do what they told, but they always replicate what they see, right? But sometimes, like you mentioned, out of the mouth of babes, right? Sometimes they don't replicate what they see. They inspire us to change themselves.
Most definitely. And it goes back to, so that's my stepson. And I'm saying that's the first and last time you will probably hear me here to acknowledge him even as a stepson. I'm just saying that for, interview purposes. That's my son. I met Isaiah when he was 6 years old. He is now 13. In my household, the word step isn't allowed in our household. No stepson, no stepdad, no stepmom. We have to talk to our other parties, other significant others, the other moms and dads that we have these children with, and tell them this is how we operate in our household. We all on one page now. I don't want my oldest son feel as though he has to compare with my biological son because of the word step. No, we're a family. We're going to move together as a force, and that's what we're doing. So, and by me doing this when my 13-year-old child came out and said, hey, you asked us to be a force, but you aren't doing it. You aren't living that pretty much yourself. And that's when I got therapy and started working through those dynamics myself and went to my dad. And I'm telling you, my life is so much better now. And I'm so honored to have my joy back, to have my passion back, to go ahead and push my initiative with my family. Marry my immediate family and my secondary family.
Dude, fellas, I hope you're paying attention to that, man. Everything spawned and everything grew after he chose to heal.
Most definitely. That's true.
You think about that. Like, you ever think about the concept of gardening or planting things, right? You ever tried to plant something in bad soil?
Ain't growing.
It ain't growing. Seriously. I mean, and sometimes we need analogies and we need stories for that thing to resonate. We have to sometimes treat the ground. We have to clear the land. We have to get that stuff right so that we can effectively grow stuff going forward. And so you had to heal. But once you healed, look at this thing that's growing now.
It's growing now. It's out of my control. I think at times I hate to say the word fear, but it's growing so large and so fast that it's fearful at times. But it's a good fear. It's like, how do I handle all this national attention? So I'm not gonna use the word fear. I'm gonna say a load. It's a big load. How do we manage it? So podcasts like yours is what's important. This makes the movement continue to grow. Like I said, again, no matter how large or how small a podcast is, I'm gonna do it because it matters and it's growing what we have going on over here, and it's benefiting you, myself, fathers across this nation. And like I said, I'm so honored to be a part. And yeah, let's continue to grow together.
Look, we're all down with it, brother. And if there's anything now, is there anything that we can do from the Black Fathers Now family perspective? Is there anything that we can do to support you, to help push this initiative? What can we do?
So we actually have a Squat for Change event coming up December 21st here in Jacksonville, Florida, and we are looking for donations. We are trying to celebrate fatherhood. Father's Day, comes once a year, but why do we have to be acknowledged and honored once a year? So December 21st, we are looking for. We're gearing it toward low-income fathers who have children who don't have those finances or funds to provide for their children for the holidays. And we just want to bless the socks off their feet. I mean, give them whatever they want, have these donations to really take to their households, provide for their children so they can feel for one day that they're worthy enough to be a father. I mean, I know what it means to sit on the step with no money and the ice cream truck rolls in the street and my son asks for ice cream cone. I don't have a single dollar to give it. I have to go in the house and get some old cookies and make it seem like I bought it from the ice cream truck and lied to my children. I know what that feels like. I want to make sure I can take that load of other fathers. So December 21st, I'll send you the information where you can send some donations, or if you want to send a cash offering so we can get those donations for you. We have PayPal, Cash, and all Squat for Change. Just go ahead and send what you want to send, and I will make sure, and I'll send receipts so you know what your money went to, something good for families, because this is about uplifting fatherhood, and this is what we're going to do.
Absolutely. And where can people find information on this? Is it squatforchange.org?
Yeah, squatforchange.com.
Okay, .com. Gotcha.
Go to our Instagram page. There's a lot of active. If you want a quicker response, go to our Instagram page at Squat for Change. Or go to the Instagram page that went viral. So that's 3boys_1 goal. The number 3boys_1 goal. Okay. And that's where you really get more information faster. The website will be updated this weekend with that information. But yes, reach out on social media platforms if you want the information. I'll definitely get it to you.
Awesome. So definitely visit squatforchange.com to support the initiative that's happening on December 21st in Jacksonville. And also follow on Instagram. You can follow Squat for Change on Instagram, or on Instagram also 3boys_1 goal. I'll have all of that in the show notes so you all can check it out and go directly to it and basically support this brother. And this is coming out. This is going to come out in a couple of weeks from now. So it'll come out before December 21st. Okay. But it's going to come out in a couple of weeks. So we'll make sure to have everything in the show notes. So brothers, get out and support my man Donte Palmer. Created Squat for Change. Literally support him and let him know, because look, this is a brother doing something on a global scale. And when you start doing some deep dive and digging, you'll see like, yo, he's getting it in and he's representing us.
And that's the thing. Like this, and before we sign out, I'm doing something on a global scale. Meaning, I'm gonna need a team around me. So help support me. I'm pulling brothers up with me. So you need to support me so I can find out who's really for us. So we can do this thing together. It's not about me. I'm gonna need fathers in Africa. I'm gonna need fathers flying out to Chicago, and it's national. I need your help. So help me out.
Well, check this out. I can go ahead and tell you right now, Mike Dorsey, who you're speaking with Black Fathers Now, is ready, willing, and able to kind of help push this narrative. And I'm going to tell you, you mentioned the whole, and it's interesting, the whole Squat for Change thing. I can remember two instances. One, we were in New York. My little girl, when she was 6 months old, we were in the bathroom. Had to literally some nasty floor. I had literally the whole roll of paper towels all over the floor trying to change her because they didn't have it in there for a dude. That was one. The second, and this maybe is something we can talk about offline, flying on airplanes. Dude, I'm gonna tell you that we've had so many blowouts. Our kids are 6 and 8 now, so prayerfully we're done with all of it. Well, we are done with all that stuff now, right? But unless something else is coming, which we don't know, but we ain't planning on another one. But either way, I digress. But long story short, on an airplane, changing diapers on a freaking airplane is challenging. So maybe we need to talk offline and see if somebody has some solutions, because I would love to get behind some type of solution on getting proper changing tables in airplanes. Maybe that's a way for the 787 MAX people who got some bad publicity. They can get some better public cred by doing that. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
So that's what happens. We grab partnerships with people who may not have that good credibility. Yeah. And hop on board. We definitely bring it too. That's what we offer exposure.
Yeah, look, we're gonna talk more later, brother. But thank you so much, man, for taking time out of your schedule, sharing your initiative. But then, brothers in the Black Fathers Now family, make sure to get behind my man Donte Palmer. Follow him on Instagram, Squat for Change, or 3boys_1 goal on Instagram. Visit squatforchange.com. And as always, make sure to visit blackfathersnow.com. Subscribe via iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, Amazon Alexa, anywhere you listen to podcasts. Subscribe, YouTube, share this thing out. Share. And as always, fellas, y'all be blessed, well, and wise. And I'll holler at you. Peace.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all.
All right.